at the Chicago World Parliament of Religions on September 15, 1893 was a landmark that has been studied, analyzed and commented on by scores of pundits. But what struck me the most personally is the effect the speech had in reigniting the pride of the nation. It was a time in our history where as a nation we had nothing much to look forward to. Not much of a nation hero to talk about, not much of an identity to feel pride by association. And out comes the news that a son from our souls has won over the world with as much his knowledge and wisdom as his love for humanity. It was when he uttered the famous words, "Sisters and brothers of America," and the entire auditorium rose up in applause that lasted several minutes, that India found her place again on the map of the world. It was when he eloquently described what Hinduism stands for. The nation found its lost pride. It was one of the many significant triggers that gave rise to newfound nationalism and sparked our freedom movement momentum. We now invite another group of honorable speakers, Srini Ganapati from Kiran, Padmaja Bingu from Heartfelt Meditation and Lopa Mudra Das Roy from Breast Cancer Hub. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmaswarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapatme Dayoshratva Pranamami Muhur Muhur Namasri Ethirajaya Vivekananda Swami Satchit Sukaswarupaya Swami Bahani. Good afternoon, good evening everyone. That was an invocation of the Trinity here. Pranam Swamiji. I've got these two things. First, I'm going to talk about my personal experience. I grew up as a mission child all through my school in Chennai. So this Trinity means so much to me, both socially, spiritually and religious, from a religious aspect. As I said, I was surrounded by Swamiji's inspiration for almost all my student life, and that I'm here representing Kiran, which is a domestic violence support and advocacy group. And I'm here, I've taken interest in these groups mainly because mother over there, I've read stories, I've grown up reading stories of it. She was such an empowered woman, and she ensured that boys were made into monks and ambassadors of the world. And that really motivated us. And again, women worship, Kali worship was so big in the monk order in Ramakrishna Mission. We follow that very closely at our home. So it was very easy for me and my wife to jump in and do this. It is a spiritual calling for us, and as a result of which we started this group. And every day, we kind of go back and say, it is all because of our upbringing. And we dedicate that to the Trinity over there. Another important thing that we see here is basically the DNA of the Ramakrishna Mission is the unity of spiritual approach plus Manav Seva, or humanity, service to humanity. And I've seen firsthand, I stood there when we were helping out refugees coming from Sri Lanka, and Ramakrishna Mission was the only organization out there receiving them, and I studied with a lot of them. So there is no difference between spirituality. Devda, you kind of mentioned how you have an intellectual approach and a spiritual approach, how it all comes together. That was taught to us by these gurus here, and Swamiji was probably the most vocal person in order for us to learn those lessons and apply them in daily life. Once he said, it is also very important for us to keep that in mind as we go into the 21st century. Thanks for this opportunity. Jai Guru.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, I would like to thank the organizers for making this environment to pay the tribute to our Swami Vivekananda. When I think of Swami Vivekananda, it connects me to my childhood days, growing up in a joint family where my grandparents and parents all are Dikshita from Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And the only stories I remember of listening from my grandfather, cuddling with him in the bed with my cousins and brother, would be the stories of Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and Ma Sharada. And the most interesting fact, now if I recall, was that even though the stories were so witty, funny, but they were so powerful. And we as kids, we were eager to listen to my grandpa every night, like the bedtime stories. So what fascinated me over the years was the concept of oneness. Each individual add value to the table, and irrespective of what religion we come from, what language we speak, it's the goal. We all are one. It's different path we take, but the vision should be for the well-being. And while walking towards the goal, it's very important that we imbibe with our ethics and integrity. So I just want that the most powerful teaching of Vivekananda that I love the most is the fearlessness. I want to tell you a story, like a real story. Like last year on 7th August 2018, I was in Assam for my breast cancer awareness work. I was in a session with women from Sharada Shanga in Silchar. And after my talk, like a woman comes up to me and says, I'm a breast cancer patient, I'm going through chemotherapy, and I want to share my story, which is very unusual. It is usually like I have to request everyone, give me your story because it will inspire others. But for an Indian woman to come up to me and say that, it was like, for me, I was so amazed. And I asked her, from where did you get the strength? And her answer was, it's because of Swamiji. The fearlessness, because I want to inspire others so that they don't speak, so they are not shy. And saying that, I asked her, are you always a disciple of Swami Vivekananda? She said no, she was never. But in 2015 December, her husband passed away. In 2016 December, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She wanted to give up her life. And someone told her, why don't you read the stories of Swami Vivekananda? She started to come to Ramakrishna Mission, and then she said, like Swamiji and Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Sharada Ma, everyone's photo was there, and she's saying, they saved me. Not saved me from cancer, but saved me because she now knew she had a bigger reason to live, to fight cancer and give back to the community. Because service to mankind is the greatest service to God. Thank you.
Perhaps I'm the only one speaking from paper. I just want to quote Vivekananda ji in his own words. I'll be speaking about meditation and his thoughts on meditation. And the topic I have picked is beyond consciousness. Consciousness is nothing but, how we see, understand, and experience the world around us. Then what is beyond consciousness? Swami Vivekananda said, consciousness is a mere film between two oceans, the subconscious and the superconscious. He understood the infinite and limitless nature of this spectrum of consciousness because his own state had expanded across that spectrum. This was also the case with another saint, Sri Ramchandra of Shahjahanpur, who is the founder president of Heartfulness Meditation, who researched and described various states of consciousness, the superconsciousness, and the various chakras of heart region, mind region, etc. A simple practice of dhyana or meditation provides us this real opportunity to dive deep into these conscious states, and especially if this meditation is aided by yogic transmission, the journey becomes much easier. So why practice? To quote Swami Vivekananda again, why should we practice? Because each action is like the pulsations quivering over the surface of the lake. The vibration dies out, and what is left? The samskaras, the impressions. So how to remove these samskaras and impressions? By doing a simple act of cleaning. The vrittis are cleaned and the fluctuations of the mind are progressively reduced. So the canvas of consciousness becomes clear, light and pure. Gradually all this field of consciousness will open up to you. To quote Swami Vivekananda again, what does consciousness matter? Why? It is nothing compared with the unfathomable depths of the subconscious and the heights of the superconscious. In this, I could never be misled, for had I not seen Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gather in 10 minutes from a man's subconscious mind the whole of his past and determine from his future and his powers. So, what do we do with this expanded consciousness? How does it help us in anchoring our life? To quote Swamiji again, the power of meditation gives us everything. It is through the power of meditation all scientific facts are discovered today. They study the subject and forget everything, their own identity and everything. And then the great fact comes to them like a flash. And this was confirmed by none other than a great scientist who coexisted during Swami Vivekananda time, Albert Einstein, who said, I think 99 times and find nothing. I stop thinking, swim in silence, and the truth comes to me. I wish to end this talk by profound call of Swami Vivekananda when he says, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Embark on this most adventurous journey of meditation. And after 20 years of meditation practice, I can say that it's highly rewarding, immensely liberating, and great fun too. Thank you.
Thank you. Those were quite